hey, I'm a guy who's still kind of at the beginning of my journey with like therapy, medication, trying to just be my better self.
Alt-folk country muso Jordie Lane has recently dropped the third single from his forthcoming album, Tropical Depression. Jordie will celebrate the release of the album with a tour that's set to hit the Hunter on the 5th of September. Here's the chat that we had with Jordie ahead of the tour. I'm really excited to talk about these new singles and like the upcoming album.
I'm really excited to be back in Australia and finally doing a new album. I haven't done a studio record for like 6 years or something. So it's gone quick, but I'm ready. So
yeah. But you've been releasing like quite a bit of music in between, right? Because I was looking at your like discography and there are quite a few like, is it studio? What was going on there?
Yeah. Well, there was this one called Lost, which was an EP of a record I did with like amazing session musicians back in LA, like this drummer, Jim Keltner, who he's played with every Beatle except John. He's played with every Rolling Stone except Mick. He played with Elvis, like all these legends.
Wow.
And he played drums on this track and we lost the files, got them back and finally put them out in, I don't know when it was, 2019. And then since then, you know, through the pandemic, we did like a lockdown album in our home studio and then an audio book, which was me telling stories about songs. And I don't think anybody heard that. I just released it myself. And it's up there on Spotify and all that. But we just kept going and then did these demos called the Empty House tapes. And they were basically the songs that I had decided not to record for this studio album that became this new one coming called Tropical Depression. So
wow,
that's the whole lineage of it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Tell me about these brand new singles because they seem to be like, you know, super self-deprecating. So can you tell me about like the inspirations and what's been going on behind the scenes?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's the Aussie sense of humor. And I grew up in a family with mum who was stand-up comedian. Oh. And so it's just always been the go-to for sense of humor. But since living in America, I guess you're allowed to lean into the kind of more serious emotional side of why you do that. And so the last few years for me have been like really having to finally like dig deep and deal with my own sort of inner crap that's been going on for years. And it sort of really came to a head when we had this massive tornado just miss our house in Nashville. And then the pandemic hit while we were just getting back into our house after 8 days, no power.
Wow.
And everyone was cleaning up the neighborhood. It was a tornado that went for 70 miles. So what's that, 110 kilometer tornado just ripped right along. And it was really scary, but our house was spared. But I think it started this extra anxiety in me and it just all got too much at some point and just had a big burnout. And then it was like, oh, okay, one way I know how to deal with this is to make fun of it.
Yeah.
And so I would never make fun of anybody else's like own personal struggles or mental health journey. But for me, that's part of my process to like start to acknowledge it myself and talk about it. And so it's sort of just trying to be totally honest with myself and where I'm at. And this releasing it like this and talking about it is almost my own experiment to like help me continue to work through it.
Yeah, totally. And so I'd love to know what are like some of the biggest things that have changed for you since that last album and has, you know, talking about your mental health and stuff. Do you feel like it's helping you move along?
Yeah. so since that last album, I was still like a real kind of nomad, like just traveling, no fixed address, no adult responsibilities. I wasn't paying rent anywhere. I didn't have a car, wasn't paying any bills. I mean, besides the extravagant expense of being a musician. But so like these last few years, well, since 2020 have been like a kind of growing up, like in the truest, social sense that we know as a society, which is got a house, paying rent, paying bills, got a car, having to pay annoying repairs, got a dog, and absolutely in love with that guy. And so all of these domestic type things have been something that I've always wanted and wished for, but yeah, they come with that extra added responsibilities.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing that changed for me, and it was a good thing. And through the pandemic, it was kind of awesome. Didn't have to worry about my music career, didn't have any of that pressure that artists can put on themselves, especially musicians, because it's like this halfway between art and commerce. You're like, you want to survive from your art, but you don't want to exploit your art, or compromise it. So anyway, I definitely haven't got better at being concise or succinct with my answers. I apologize.
No, it's super insightful. It's so insightful.
I don't know if you can, hopefully you've got the ability to do editing, or else everybody can just go through this ramble.
I'm loving it. Keep going.
But it's like the main part of your question was like, has it been helpful for me to talk about this? Like, yes, because, and I don't just mean in like interviews or whatever, because I guess people sort of just think that's part of your like selling story or whatever. And I really don't mean it to be that. I really just want to be like, hey, I'm a guy who's still kind of at the beginning of my journey with like therapy, medication, trying to just be my better self, or, try and get better, for the benefit of me, my family, friends, and hopefully my career as well, to be honest, because a lot of that is about self-doubt, self-deprecation, self-esteem issues that almost everybody out there has a period of. It just feels like artists go through like this up and down wave forever, and sometimes you don't think your problems are important, so you just keep pushing it aside. And so this is really just an exercise to say, yeah, sure, I'm just one of, unfortunately, millions of people out there that are going through anxiety or depression and trying to work out how to get through it. So it's just a conversation starter, really. And it's amazing how many people, you just mention something maybe about therapy or medication, and all of a sudden they feel safe to talk about it as well. And it's really good. You can be like, oh yeah, what are you taking? And how do you find it? I mean, America's very open about that. It's like they almost encourage therapy and meds. And I was just so cynical about it for years, like, oh, it's a conspiracy. They just want to make money. It's pharmaceutical industry just pushing drugs, and therapists want you to stay screwed up so they can keep having you come back. But I've realized now, and sorry, this is another long answer, but my dog, who's a border collie, Tassie, his name is, he has suffered really bad anxiety to the point of, for dog owners out there, it's like reactivity. We can't have him socialize with new people or dogs without a huge kind of plan in place so that it's not traumatic for everyone and so that nobody gets hurt, And so we finally actually took him to what is basically a dog psychiatrist, and I'm laughing, but it was a really great experience where he got put on medication, and like it just was the beginning of him being able to start to get out there as a dog and in the world, and our life to be able to open up and socialize more as well.
Yeah.
So that might sound ridiculous to people who aren't mega dog owners, lovers, who are like, why are you giving your dog Zoloft or Prozac? But it's really helped, and that's what gave me the kind of opening to say, well, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it can help me. So it's like I owe it all to my dog.
No, totally. And I think, what I get from that is like, imagine you look at dogs and you're like, what do you have to worry about? It's kind of very validating that they're worried, because it's like, we have a lot to deal with. We've got bills and stuff, and they don't even have bills. Yeah. He's anxious.
Yeah. Well, they're worried about us paying the bills.
True.
They're like, hey, Dad, am I going to get, my special treat on Friday, or are you not going to be able to afford it? No, it's, I don't know. Yeah. Dogs, it's so like, it depends what kind of dog and your relationship, but that they feed off you and they mirror you like the same as a little toddler would.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately he's also probably feeling my anxiety. And so I'm probably slightly to blame for his, but they really just feed off you. And I just love dogs because it really, I like to think it's unconditional love. It definitely does have the condition of good food and exercise, but that's a pretty easy condition.
Absolutely. So let's talk about these new music videos that have come out. They're so good. Can you tell me about the concepts behind them and how you came up with them?
They're really fun. Like, I've never really done music videos much in the past. Like, it costs you money to make them, and unless you, like, I heard that if he hears this, folk activist punk singer from England, Billy Bragg, I heard an old interview of his saying, I don't do music videos, they cost £50,000. And if I don't know I'm going to make that £50,000 back, why would I do it? It's just a record label thing to spend more money, make, and he's very anti-capitalist. So, but it is true. Anyway, we blew a little bit of money, nowhere near £50,000. But we just got very creative with what we had, and it was just all about coming up with the craziest stories I could. And, I didn't have money for any other actors. So the first music video, Changing Weather, is like 4 or 5 different characters all played by myself.
Yeah.
Just as a means of like, hey, I'm not going to get other actors to do it for free. So I'm just going to have to play all the actors myself. And basically it ties in with the next music video, which is I'm kind of playing these fanciful characters, but they all have like a big truth to them, that they're different parts of myself, basically. So there's a character who's hot-headed on the phone and gets angry and agitated, can't hold his temper back. He's the drummer, so he's smashing the phone down and swinging punches at the air. And that's a side of me that doesn't come out often, but and then there's like a sort of OCD character who just can't handle things being out of place. And so it's just me like looking into myself and going, oh, okay, all these things do exist in me. So I'm not celebrating them, but I'm just sort of exposing those parts of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a background in acting?
No way.
Not at all?
No, I didn't even do school musicals or anything.
Wow.
My mum forever did stand-up comedy, and then she went into TV later on. And so yeah, I guess it does that sort of performance and theatricalness is something that is in the family. And my dad has always done some sort of clowning,
Wow.
whether it's like acrobatics or dressing up literally as a clown, still walking and juggling. So it's a need within our family, both from my mum and dad's side, to perform and get attention and try and be entertaining in some way, help people get through their day. That's basically what it is. Just to, I don't know, either make people like stare at something scary like climate change or mental health, or just give them a lighthearted, like, oh, I forgot about my shit for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that made me feel better. That's the two goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, before I let you go, you're currently on tour and you're about to come to the Hunter Valley to play Quirks and the Hunter. I'd love to know, what are some of your fondest memories from playing around Newey?
Oh, well, look, for years, probably my first gig in the region, actually, I can't remember it because it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But since then, I've played many times at a place called the Junkyard, the Grand Junction Hotel in Maitland, and love Ben and Liz there. They jump up on the bar, tell everybody to shut the hell up because they're just about to hear an amazing singer. And to go to a country town and go into this bar where it felt a bit scary, like, oh, these guys going to like me. And then for the owners of the pub to support you like that, it means a lot and gives you the confidence to do the show. And so, yeah, for years I've played there, and that's really fun. I played the Dashville Skyline and Gumball festivals in the past as well, and they were just heaps of fun. Lazotte's back in the day.
Yeah.
A bunch of different great American touring artists. So
wow.
Yeah, I've been to the area. Oh gosh. Yeah, anyway, there's too many. I do have quite a lot of friends who have lived there over the years or relocated to the Newcastle area. So I'm really looking forward to getting back, and haven't played this venue before. So I played their other venues in Sydney. But yeah, it should be fun. And we've got a local Dave Wells opening the show.
Beautiful.
And so, yeah, it's going to be nice, fun, intimate, stripped back show.
Wow. Definitely one not to be missed. That's going to be such a great night. Honestly, it's been such an honor getting to chat with you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Of course. Yeah, you too, Bonnie. Really nice.